Ever since I reached to 6,000 cups my base has been getting destroyed from left, right and center by the turd riders. Despite using the best bases on planet Earth, there is nothing that stops them as they move through bases like a knife through butter. Luckily I have a fail-proof plan how to stop them by building the best troll base humanity has ever seen. But the problem is I have only 4 days left to gain approximately 300 cups to win 50,000 gems. And I desperately need those gems as I am completely broke. So without wasting any time I started designing a troll base. Since I have never built a base for trophy pushing to become #1 in the world, then I had to take some inspiration from the best bases in the internet. My goal was to redesign this base so that people would think the town hall is completely free. Which it is, except there are a couple of surprises. To avoid any failures defending my way to the top of the leaderboard, I had to ask some advice from an actual pro player what he thinks about my brand new Legends League base. And of course there is no better person to ask some advice from than the one who carried Queen Walkers to victory in 2022. Shortly after I sent him the top secret base layout that was about to make history, he replied to me,
"I don't know, but maybe not strong."
Oh great. Despite the fact he politely tried to tell me my base is absolute piece of garbage, I decided to ignore his advice and still run this base for the next legend day. As I was watching this attack I realized I should have listened to the pro player Judo, because even the basic particle of chemistry had the capability to shatter my base. King wearing a winter coat while walking at the top of the Giza pyramid was a sign of total disrespect. I knew that something has to be done, so I immediately told the CEO of Cock to launch an emergency maintenance break to erase this disaster out of my memory. Also I asked to buff my defenses, and you won't believe what started happening. If you are thinking right now, Jaso, your poor little troll base stands no chance as the attacker is using the most broken army comp in the game, then you are right. Indeed, he is using that one troop that gives nightmares to every Town Hall 15 player who spent countless hours in 2023 grinding to max their walls. I completely understand the pain of those wall grinders who spend 6.5 billion resources just so they can shortly after watch how their maxed out walls get bulldozed in matter of milliseconds. But that's definitely not the case in here. Despite Nick's best efforts to grow as many weeds around my village to put my buildings to sleep for half a minute each didn't bear any fruit. Even the golden statue that received a quick injection of growth hormones couldn't deal too much damage before a deadly dose of radioactive particles shrank him back to his normal size. After a group of meteorites landed at the top of his head, he had his last few seconds of vacation left in Egypt until he got taken back to the homeland. Meanwhile the queen was digging some gold, joined by her support group of 3 fairies who were all cheering for her, but soon enough she couldn't hold herself back from going back to her old addiction. Even though she tried to hide her guilty pleasure of hitting walls by going invisible, there was no hiding from the Eye of Sauron that can see everywhere. The only thing the Eye of Sauron couldn't see was the Flappy Bird, whose workday was about to be over very soon anyway. 88% 2-star was an absolute win in my eyes, but that was far from over. Next up we had the same army with addition of 2 ice cubes and few other less important troops from Baldy winners. It's definitely worth remembering the clan name, as we are about to see who actually is going to get the winner chicken dinner. Like with every poop rider spam strategy, the beginning part is boring as hell, but when things are moving towards the second half of the base, the praying starts, where you just hope your troops will go where you want them to go, but in reality they will do the opposite. Sometimes they even start dancing to some good old Freddie Mercury, just as the Minecraft king is doing to show off his moves in front of my queen, but little did he know these few seconds he danced to the queen's, he gets to be just another one to bite the dust. Soon after, when Royal Champion finished her morning coffee and the caffeine kicked in, she had that short spike of energy, after which she and all her companions were sent to the grave by the monolith. The funny thing is, this is still not all. My guy right here spent 50,000 liters of a very scarce natural resource to beat my base, making this army even more overpowered than the ones 2 previous attackers used. Weirdly enough, the 69-year-old man was the wisest of them all, as he understood there is no chance for his army, so he left even before 50% destruction happened. Meanwhile the queen was doing queen things. The royal champion was playing hide and seek, a new defense to destroy, until the town hall did a peekaboo and covered her with different toxins. Then the slightly smaller pile of rocks turned into a little bit bigger pile of rocks to obviously contribute into the construction of the Giza pyramids that were in the works, so I was very happy about that. And then the guitar smash smashing / came to try to trash my buildings, but even he didn't get too far. After using several best bases from the internet, none of them came even close to the success I was having using this completely random troll base. Just about when I was about to show off my defense feed to my good friend Judo 14 of the base he called Not So Strong, I started getting tripled back to back. At the end of the day I gained 33 cups, which is not bad but not enough to end up being at the top of the leaderboard in 3 days. For that reason I decided to do a few evil modifications to counter my enemies even better. First and foremost, I needed to move the traps around because not a single person attacked me from the bottom side, making it useless to have majority of my traps in front of the town hall. Secondly, I moved some of the traps right inside the core of the base because by the time troops get here, enemy has most likely already used the Eternal Tome. Once the modifications got saved, I realized I am unable to use it for my second day defenses, so I had to use the initial version, which once again brought me almost the same amount of cups. Luckily 2 people failed to 3-star my layout. Meanwhile I burned down every single base that was in front of me using the best attack strategy in the entire universe. If you are curious how to get a perfect Legend League day at around 6,000 cups meanwhile having your eyes closed, then check out this video. But don't watch it right now. Do it after the video, because just now the actual #1 player in the world has started attacking my modified troll base using electro. Okay, maybe it's not the #1 player in the world, but I do have to pay him some respect for having the patience to reach 6,000 cups using the absolute worst troop in the game. It definitely takes some skill to make any good use of those Gucci necklace wearing bluebirds whose worst phobia is a tiny breeze of wind. But wind was not the main concern today, as my guy came prepared. Not only he had watched the weather forecast that day, but also in case of an unexpected wind he had brought 4 bottles of H2O in a solid state to cool things down in case it does end up getting windy. Not gonna lie, things did seem to get slightly too extreme as his troops moved through the base dangerously fast, to the point I started thinking I might be using a wrong army after all, and the new way to triple bases is by using the Electro Dragons. I already started looking those 30 seconds long in-depth bluebird guides, but luckily I got saved from the upcoming misery of using one of those troops myself when the Eye of Sauron made the last goblin perform some yoga moves on the floor. Even though the #1 player couldn't triple my base, then everyone else did, so I had to accept a tiny loss of 10 cups due to 2 attacks I messed up. Sunday was the last day where I could redeem myself, and I kinda did, as the troll base prevented 2 attackers from tripling my base. The only problem was I tripled every single enemy base except one when my grandma called to tell me her chicken hatched a new chick, which is all nice and stuff, but I lost my #1 spot unfortunately. Guys, if you don't want your grandma to call you in the middle of your attack, subscribe to me right now, as it acts as a shield from all the grandmas. If you don't, then I will make sure my grandma calls you.